Okay, video of today is of Braxton Horde. He's an incoming junior college sophomore. And these were just some of the mechanical things that I saw after his first freshman fall. Excuse me. After his first freshman fall, these are the mechanical changes that we wanted to make with the young man. So when he comes set, super wide, not a big issue. To each their own for the most part. But in Braxton's case, when he leg lifts, you can see this big negative move back towards second base, which is just him shifting his weight all the way back onto his back leg. And then for us to generate momentum forward, it's very difficult. You now have to push your way out of it instead of just lifting, drifting, and then allowing gravity to do the rest, essentially, and just staying in that back foot. Now there has to be a little bit of a push to get you going in that direction. A little bit more of a push, I should say, with this big move back over the rubber to get going towards home. Then also you see this foot peak up. He's just rocking his weight onto his backside of his or the outside of his foot. Ideally, we want to keep this toe on the ground, toe and heel as long as we possibly can as we go down the slope. Try to keep those connected and anchored. Um, Usually, what we see with this weight distribution is a rock back onto the outer half, and then you counteract as you go down the slope. You rock back onto your toe, and you early extend out of your back leg. Braxton actually does a pretty good job of staying through his back foot here and working rolling this front foot over instead of popping out and then towards home. So he does a pretty good job of staying through his back leg. But he does a pretty good job of getting to peak leg lift and then drifting and then going. But I just think he wouldn't have to fight his body so much if he started with his feet closer together, and then that initial move was just up and then down and out instead of back, drift, down and out. But and then as he goes down the slope, not bad. Like again, stays in his back leg well. This front toe is closed off his front hip as he drives, and then when it's time to flip open, you can see his back heel is basically on this orange line. When he lands, super far across his body. So that's not a big deal. There's a ton of big leaguers that throw across their body and they're efficient and they throw at high velocities. Now, with Braxton's case, you look up the chain and you see that his upper half is this is where a big part of his disconnect was happening, where he's landing super far across his body. But as we watch his arm action as he drives down the slope, it just kind of hangs out. Watch his arm action as he's in this drive phase. Again, they stay stacked well, so it's not like creating this unnatural tilt. Like Braxton's misses were usually arm side and up, at least bare minimum up, but usually arm side. And it just means that his arm was late. And why is it late? Well, your foot's getting down at a good time. Like it's a good lengthy delivery. And then we look at his arm, and his arm just kind of hangs out as he's driving, just kind of sitting there doing nothing. And then when it's time to go at front foot strike, we would prefer that your arm is up, at least at like a 45-degree angle, inside 90 degrees with your between your elbow and your hand, which he does a really good job of. But he's not even above his shoulder plane here. So when he flips up, his arm is super late, and which then causes you've already created it difficult direction as you drive down the slope, and then your arm being late is going to make it very difficult for you to throw strikes. So you can see he gets to good spots. It's just the sequencing of it is just a tick off. He gets over his front side well. His lead leg blocking is solid. Um, this trail leg flexion can create some shoulder and elbow issues later. It's just putting more force through your elbow, but does a really good job extending. Like the actions are there. The mechanics are it's the fluidity is in there. It's just a matter of sequencing it and letting them happen at the correct time, which was Braxton's big obstacle. But he does a really good job of getting over his front side and getting that lead leg in the ground. But again, there's that maybe starting with your feet closer together would be my first thing, just to clean up this huge negative move. And then giving him some arm action drills to clean up this arm action so he's not late at front foot strike And then there's some PVC work and some water ball stuff that we can do to make sure his direction is better. Okay. This is Braxton from straight behind. I like seeing these videos, one from straight behind and one from the side, just because from the side doesn't tell the complete story, and straight from behind doesn't quite tell the complete story either. But for Braxton here, um, from this angle, we can really see one, his direction. How far, he's starting on this orange line. He's landing super far across his body towards this 9 pocket, towards this thing back here. You can see his direction kind of taking him that way. Now, this hip is completely rotated and he's still holding tension. Like this rubber band effect, this hip shoulder separation that he's got going on, really good. It's like Braxton's potential is there. It's he has the ability to throw balls efficiently and at a very high rate, very high velocity. But it's just a matter of honing in on your inconsistencies and allowing you that hand to get on time. So we can initially see this direction from this angle is a good foot away from 12 inches away from this orange line that was right down the middle of the slope. The other thing I like to point out is for Braxton is this all starts at peak leg lift. This is all good. Besides his negative movement, like towards the camera, this is all good. When he goes down, he's super quad dominant. Excuse me. Everything starts to leak out towards third base. You can see his knee like starts above the middle of his foot and then leaks out over his toe. This is where his direction is starting to throw him off towards, this 9 pocket here. Which what we wanted him more so to do is stay and sit into this back glute more. Essentially, the cue I like to tell guys is keep your butt behind your ankle. Keep your butt behind your heel. Try and stay in that as long as you can. After peak leg lift, just try and stay in that leg as long as you can. It's going to clean up your direction almost immediately. And there's some drills that I'll show you later here in this video that can help get the feeling for those guys. But Braxton, when he goes, it's just initially dumping into this quad and staying. He's not using his glute really at all. And that's what's setting his direction off. Now, with this pitch specifically, it's a slider. The last clip was a fastball. But he knows that in order for this pitch to be competitive in or around the zone, he has to get his hand out front and make this pitch nasty out front. So with this pitch specifically, his hand is above his shoulder plane. So that foot strike, this might also be a frame or two ahead, but for what we're looking at right now, like his hand is in the act of flipping up, but it's above his shoulder plane, which is, I think maybe a tick higher would be good. Like it'd be safe. I mean, guys can be almost completely up. I think in front foot strike, I've seen guys with an early flip up that works. Again, each guy is different. Each guy is different constraints, different range of motions, what have you. But for Braxton's case, like he gets into a good spot here and he throws a really competitive expand the zone slider. But his hand is on time. He's still fighting his body, but for this pitch specifically, he executes it well. Now, again, the direction thing, all of that isn't a huge deal if that's how guys throw. But when it's in Braxton's case specifically, where it was leading to inconsistencies where he would miss up an arm side, often, like there are things in the delivery that we can do to hopefully clean those up. So with his arm being typically late and missing up, one thing we can do is change that direction and then add in some arm action drills to help his hand get on time, which I'll show you those right now.
So the one drill we really wanted to get him was just a PVC pipe, completely slow down his mechanics. So it's just a leg lift. Instead of feeling him quad dominant and drift, leg lift, sit back. Leg lift, sit back into that back hip. Feel this glute behind this heel. The good thing about this too is that you can also, if you want to, get up on the mound, right? I don't know if you can see me. You can get up on the slope. It's just a way to work on your delivery without having to take stress on the arm. Wrist weights, I wanted to build up his upper body just a little bit. We just started with a little bit of swings. Again, feel loose. I want this arm to be completely loose, no tension. Just along for the ride. A couple of those, you work your way up to simulated throws. We work your way up into a couple of push presses here. Again, feeling that pinch in your scap. Then you kind of all piece together with pivot pick off. Again, don't allow this. I didn't want his arm to stop. So just feeling the constant motion of the arm. Again, and as for plyos, upper half wise, I just wanted a figure eight. Something simple out of them. Again, keeping this constant motion, collect this energy into the throw. Nice and easy, doesn't have to be hard. This is a 1 pound ball. I think I started hitting like a 9 ounce maybe. But again, just feeling the fluidity with this thing. Trying to take all tension out of the arm. So that was a figure eight. The other one was a janitor throw. So it's putting you in a deep constraint, which in this case needed one. I'm not a big fan of putting guys into constraints, but for this case it works. It's simple janitor throw. You're just corkscrewing this back hip into the ground, leg lift, and throwing. So I'll be throwing away from the camera here. So you're coiled up into this back hip, lifting and going. Just feeling yourself really into that back hip. Again, it's an end range of motion thing, but it's just to teach the guys the feeling more so than I actually want them to come set with a deep loaded back hip. That's not what I'm trying to do. But essentially, with the throw, so feel that thing loaded, lift. And then lastly, the thing I can do, I'm out here by myself, but what you can do is have a partner take a J-band or any type of band and put it around their waist, right? On the slope would be the best for this. But what we were initially thinking with guys is guys that had bad direction, you'd want to pull them back. So we thought, like if I was standing here, about to do my delivery this way, we'd have somebody behind him, belt around their waist, pulling them back. And then it came to us that we should like feed the negative is kind of what we were taught. And instead of pulling them back and teaching them to fight against that back resistance, we needed to teach them how to load into that back hip and fight against the hip, them pulling forward where the muscles are weak. So instead, if I'm going to throw this way, we had a partner with a J-band around his waist, pulling him towards his weakness. Which taught him, and several other guys, not just Braxton, what taught him is when you lift, now you have a force pulling you this way. The only way to fight against it is to fight it. Is to actually put yourself in a good spot. And what we noticed too is as soon as you take the bands off, their first couple reps usually are really good. And then they go back to muscle memory, so it takes more than 3 reps by any means. It takes a lot of reps in order for your muscle memory to get it down. But when you want to teach something, you want to feed into the problem a lot, just like teach them to fight against it. So instead of somebody pulling you back and you're teaching yourself how to keep a hip pointed this way as somebody's pulling behind you, have them pull from the third base side if you're right-handed, and it teaches you how to fight and sit into this back hip as you go down the mountain.